Hello and welcome to Bandy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your guided, instructive hosts. Joining me as always is our other guided and instructive host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
So I was listening to our episode where we recorded in your office.
Yeah,
The sound quality is so good.
it is. And I was surprised how good it was. Yeah, it really
I
turned
know.
out
I was
great.
like,
Yeah.
this is the best sound quality we've ever had.
Yeah.
So sorry, everyone,
So we
that
always we always have to record in person, basically. So
I know.
it's gonna be a bit of a commute, but that's what we'll do for you, the
That's
listeners,
right. That's right. Once a week, fly to Ireland, sit
and
in
vice
front of Andy's
versa.
backwards microphone.
Yeah.
I might sound a little weird and wonky because I have braces. I only have half of them, but I
Yeah.
have braces in the upper part of my teeth.
Hmm.
And like different from when I'm not as like genetically advanced as Andy as you are because
I
you
am a
never had
superior.
braces.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are
superior if you
superior.
are. Yeah.
So I had braces for like four. I know I've talked about this already, but I've had braces for 4.5 years, like in elementary and all of middle school. So from like, I don't know, 10 to 13. No, to 9, something ages in there. I don't
Hmm.
know, 14. It was a long time. And like now, there's so much. I mean, granted, like I'm in a little bit of pain, but it's so much better. And like they used to put brackets on your top teeth and like put wire in and like turn the wire and like
Yeah.
pull it. And it was always like you were always basically like bleeding inside your mouth. These are what I have for those who are questioning whether or not they want to get braces as a fucking adult. These are ceramic, so they're actually clear. And all you can see is like I have like white bumps on my teeth and wire. Which I don't know if that's any better than just having regular fucking braces.
I, I think this also means, right, you can go through airport security without getting flagged, right? I wondered, it just occurred to me there because you said ceramic, and I was like, I wonder do metal braces set off metal detectors?
You'd be surprised what does not.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
true.
actually had a box cutter in my purse for like
No
6 months.
way.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh it was one of the things where my dad's like, here's a weapon and some mace, just like keep it in your bag. And
Yeah.
like I was traveling and visiting Mike in LA and San Diego, like early on in dating, and I didn't know I had them in my purse. And then I found them in my bag, and I was like, I've literally been on an airplane 6 times in the last 2 months, and no one caught this. The fact that I literally have a box cutter and a bottle of mace in my bag. So
Wow.
I took them out because I knew if I went to the airport that day, like they were gonna catch me because I knew it was in my bag kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. They would see you
yeah,
sweating and they would be like, wait a
I
minute,
know, I
she's hiding
know.
something.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Or just the laws of things,
No,
right?
that's just also true, yeah. I
Yeah.
think
So
no, I'm not gonna get into that, but I think box cutters are allowed because the blades are of like a certain length. Because it's like I've had scissors flagged before, but I've always checked and like they take the scissors, they go into my bag, they take the scissors out, they like get a measuring tape, and they're like, yeah, these are fine, but they're like
seriously?
rounded edge scissors, just like but yeah, baffling.
I mean, you can stab anybody with anything.
It's just true. Where there's a will, there's a way.
It
And
it really.
wasn't there a thing? There was something recent. I gotta be misquoting this. They did like a test. We maybe talked about it
Yes, we did talk
where
about we not on pod, but
yeah, where like they checked to see how effective airport security was, and they found that basically it would make very little difference if there was no airport security at all.
yeah, it
Kind of
was something
fascinating.
crazy. Like 90% of the things that weren't supposed to get through got through.
Yeah,
And that's what we learned. So yeah, I think I'll be fine.
yeah. Just travel with box cutters, everyone. That's our advice. First,
Uh-huh.
first piece
Uh-huh.
of advice for this podcast, just in case.
But I have this like tiny little Swiss Army knife that's
Hmm.
literally like maybe 2 inches long, and it's got little scissors and a little like toothpick, and it's got little daisies on it,
Nail
and it's super
file.
cute, and
Oh,
it just
nice.
goes on your keychain, right?
Hmm.
No, that's I don't use nail files, but I know you do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Look at these babies.
look at
I'm showing Beth with fingernails.
this sweet little mittens.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Uh, anyways, what was my point?
Uh,
Uh,
blades on flights.
Blades on flights. Oh, they took it. They took it.
Oh,
They were
really?
like, you can't have this. My tiny little pocket knife.
They suck.
Like the blade was probably like half the size of a pair of tweezers. So
That's some bullshit.
I know. Can't hijack any planes with
No, no,
that
if you
size.
get, I
It's just
mean, honestly,
oh,
and I mean, I don't want to be condoning this, but if you manage to hijack a plane with like a Swiss Army knife, then you probably earned that plane at that juncture.
we're
You
horrible
know what I
people.
mean? Yeah.
We're horrible people. What's the crack with you? Because I am all over the place today.
Okay, so I spent some time with some friends I haven't seen in a while at the weekend. It was lovely. I think I've been saying to Beth that I've kind of noticed a difference between the past few months in that like April was very much a right save money for May.
Mhm.
It's going to be a big month, and it was miserable. And I'm like, and then I've just been spending time with people and doing things, which includes when Beth was visiting, and it has been so much better for my mental health. And so I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to figure out a way to get a bit more money, and which I have been doing, and because it is a need for me, I think, to actually be out there and spending time with people. And as much as like I am anxious about it a lot of the time, when I actually go and do it, it feels great. The feeling I have after is also great. So yeah, it's just this is not a new revelation, but like so many revelations in my life, they need to be like compounded again and
Beaten
again
in.
and again over time.
Like
Um,
Andy, you like to
yes,
be around people. Andy.
yeah, you
So was
do.
it, can I just take
Hmm.
all the credit for that then?
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That me like invading your space for a week for you to be like, I need to be around people more?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I'd say so. Like, I was a huge part of it for sure. I mean, and that was just the beginning of the roller coaster, the May roller coaster, which has been friggin' rad. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like,
And
you're not.
honestly,
Mhm.
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna give you verbal credit. Like, that's it. There's not gonna be no
Fine.
there's gonna be no reward attached to this. Sorry.
I'm never bringing you Reese's ever
Oh
again.
no, what have I
I
done?
know. But I had a similar realization. I think we talked about it a little bit, but like I realized just like how you are in the world and like meeting all your
Yeah,
people. And I was like, he's totally got community set up in all ways. And
yeah,
like probably it's like oozing out of your ears,
100%.
And I was like, I need more of that.
Yeah,
And so I have been like actively like trying to like have phone dates with people, have Zoom dates
yeah,
with people, go for walks with friends.
good.
And um it is good. It's a good thing. It's a good
No,
thing.
that is a good thing. I like it.
Yeah.
So one other thing before I forget, because I'm sitting here and I have written it down. So I got
Oh,
some blue light. Oh, are they sitting nice? I got some blue light glasses to help me sleep at night because like I try not to be on screens when I am in bed, but like I am
mhm.
absolutely on
How does that
screen.
work out for you?
I mean, not great. Like my iPad's in the room and I try to I'm gonna take this back off.
Do you
My I
actually read like actual books before you fall asleep?
I read my Kindle more often, but like because of the nature of that screen, it's not so bad, I think, because it's that,
Mm,
ink, whatever the hell it's called.
yeah,
And
they make it more palatable for the eyeballs.
they do. It's not really super bright. So it's not so bad. But my iPad's in my room too often, and it's like it's I leave my phone out of my room, and I have done for years now when I sleep because I was scrolling on my phone. But I'm just doing it on the iPad now, so I think I need to like eject it from the room as well. But I'm holding on. It's hard
I
to
mean,
resist the pull of like
it's a,
Reddit
I
and
know,
doom
I
scrolling.
know, I know, I know. Now I'm like expanding my Reddit tendrils
Yeah.
and like there's subreddits for everything.
There is. I like some of them are good. Like, I mean, it's I've Skull and Villainy for the most part for sure, but there are some decent communities on there. And like some of the podcasts that I listen to, there's some really good communities that are part of that. I mean, like there's assholes in all of them, but
Hmm.
there's some interesting people that have got like, good recommendations for stuff. And it's
Hmm.
nice. Or it can be
Hmm.
nice if you curate it properly.
So, do you have any other crack?
Oh yeah, one other thing, I'm going to do this at the promotion thing as well, is my Mighty hike is coming up in
Oh, yay.
just
Okay,
over a
explain
month.
what that is.
So I am doing a hike that is marathon distance. It is along the north coast of Northern Ireland. It is from Coleraine to Carrick rope bridge, which Beth saw when she was over. Remember you saw that rope bridge?
I did. I remember the rope bridge of death. Yes.
The rope bridge is death. So we're doing that in one day. It's for Macmillan, which is a cancer research charity. Um, I'm saying this now because we record a bit ahead of time. So I think by the time this comes out, I won't have done it. We will post a link to my sponsorship page and like QR codes and stuff like that. If you could sponsor me, that will be rad. I will also be talking about this in my Bringing Joy at the end, just to remind everybody. But yeah, so I'm starting to gear up for that, and like I've got a little bit of sponsorship now. Like I mean, last week I had nothing, but I've got a little bit now. So I think that's I'm getting started here, and I'm gonna keep going from there and see if I can actually get, because it's like you need to raise 250 quid as a minimum. So
Okay.
but if I could get that, I'll need to get at least that. But if I could go beyond that, that would be rad because I think it's a
Yeah,
very worthwhile cause. So yeah,
agreed. So send me that info and
I
I'll
will.
start putting it up like
Yeah,
today and
thank
I'll
you.
just keep it going until what day is the race?
It's 22nd of June.
Okay.
So
So
we
we have
got
a
some
month.
time.
We can
Yeah,
do that.
yeah, I think so. But that's it. That's all I have for now. What about yourself or any what's
I
occurring
just
or
wanted to talk about Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
cinematic masterpiece?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Harper's been super into my 9-year-old daughter's been super into Planet of the Apes. So we
Hmm.
watched the original Charlton Heston version, and last night was Sunday movie night, and so Mike was like, "What about like the next one, the remake with Mark Wahlberg and Helena Bonham Carter?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't remember it being very good, but like it's been so long, right? It was like 2003 or 2001 or something.
Yeah.
It is literally, how did it get a 5.7 out of 10? It is the worst movie I've ever seen,
Was
ever.
was Mike like trying to pull a prank or something like that?
I don't know. He just kept leaving the room. And I'm like sitting there with the kids, like, okay, I guess I'm stuck here.
He's waiting to
Uh,
chuckle.
I watched the whole thing.
Oh,
And I
it's
think it was like the point where they're like chasing somebody through the ape town and like there's like a back alley with some ape teenagers and they literally
yeah.
have an ape bong
Oh yeah.
and they're like listening to ape rock music, like being hoodlums with their leather jackets on. And I was like, I can't even, like, how does an ape know how to build a bong?
It's true. Hey, they're smarter. That's how smart they are. They can make their own bones. I
Like glasswork,
when I think about
not even plastic, like someone blew this
it's,
glass bong,
it's
some
impressive.
ape. I know.
Scary, I mean, like just shows you the level of technology they're working with. Uh, you to be careful. You know when I think about Planet of the Apes, the first thing that comes to mind is the Simpsons
What?
one where Troy McClure was in it and he had the
Hi, I'm
song
Troy
where
McClure.
it was I hate every ape I see from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Chimpanzee.
I think it was the stage production, I think that was it. So
The
good.
stage production of Planet of the
Yeah,
Apes.
yeah. Sorry, Troy McClure. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Troy McClure.
So good. Yeah, because I said to Beth, I'm gonna go and see the most recent one, which the name of which I don't even
Hmm.
know. Is it? No, it's not right. I honestly am not even gonna guess.
Return, Dawn
Yes,
of,
whatever. Something of, yeah,
Revolution of.
yeah,
Mhm.
the Planet of the Apes. So, which I am looking forward to because I've enjoyed the other recent ones,
You
but
fool.
I think they've been pretty good for the most part. But I am. Having said that, if I didn't have like my movie pass, I don't think I'd bother. I am more excited for Furiosa, which is starting
Yeah.
next weekend. Yeah.
30th?
Yeah. Well, we're getting a bit. Oh, we getting it before you guys? Whoa.
I think
I
so.
think we're getting the 25th. No, 20. I don't know.
Mm.
This week. We're excited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, I
yeah.
don't actually know
Yeah.
what date. And
Uh,
no one can correct us because it'll already be out by the time,
yeah.
unless you really want to, be right,
But
fine. But it's
but
already out
I mean
by the
they
time
love being
this comes
right.
out.
But
I know.
what we're
You
essentially
know who
saying,
you are.
yes, exactly. Just to put a pin in this, don't go and see Furiosa. Instead, sit at home and watch Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes
Planet of the
remake.
Apes. Please don't leave me alone in this.
Treat yourself to
Treaters.
some Planet of the Apes insanity.
Um,
So, do you have any what's occurring for this week?
I don't.
Okay, I
We
don't think
had
I do either.
someone call us candy apples, and I don't know what that means.
Okay, that
But
sounds
it was like
nice.
hearts, hearts, hearts. I
Okay,
know they were like, oh, the candy apples have a podcast. And I was like, and then I Googled candy apples and it can either be like something really gross or something really great. So I'm gonna
okay.
go with
I mean, if there
great.
was hearts, probably great.
There were hearts.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it. That's nice. All right, I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
so that's
when we
good.
were like talking about got milk and calling advertisers dicks. So
Yeah, fight the power.
except for sponsor us.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like fight the power of people that don't sponsor us.
Right.
But like we will be completely corporate shells for anybody who wants to give us money, of course, naturally as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
way, it's a
This is the way
survival
of
of the fittest.
finding absolute power.
Hmm.
Yes.
Um,
Okay. Do you want to jump into our topic?
yeah. Let's do jump into our topic. Do you have a name for this episode?
Best advice I've ever gotten.
Okay, like it. Yeah, it's that. It's better than
Best
what I have.
advices I've ever gotten.
Best advices I've ever gotten. I prefer. It's a good punch up. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we're just going to talk today, um, uh, just about that, exactly that subject, about advice that we've got in our life, what it was, what it has meant to us, maybe, how it has like resonated throughout the years. Um, and it very much, I think this is a good one. I think everybody has pieces of advice like this that have kind of helped them in their lives and probably still shape their lives, It's an interesting one because it's something that whenever I was thinking about it, I was able to put some stuff down, but I struggled to identify where it came from a lot of the time. Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? But I don't know whether that
Hmm.
you find that too. Like,
I did.
and it's which is odd because I thought when I would think, I thought whenever I started this thinking about this subject that it would be very much, I remember when this person said this to me, and it just didn't pan out that way at all.
I thought, yeah, I had a similar, like I was digging and I was like, okay, like what situation? And I remember getting general advice, but I don't remember necessarily the words. I just remember more the message,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it does. I think that's where very much where I'm at with it as well.
Hmm. So some of it is, I've basically like paraphrased,
Yeah. Hmm.
um, but the message is there.
I
So,
think like even some of it, like I started writing down things like advice that I have even maybe given other people, and like it's almost certainly come from somewhere else, but like so as a way to kick things off, and it's something that I think about so much. Um I don't know where I got this from, but somebody, I think this is probably and certainly a lot of like the recent stuff I think about is through yoga or is through therapy in recent years.
mhm.
And I'm pretty certain it was one of my therapists who gave me this piece of advice, which was when you're making a change in your life, think about making think about moving towards something positive than moving away from something negative. So have it like be a positive sort of move rather than I need to escape this thing, whatever that thing is, be it a relationship, be it a place, be it a work situation, etc., etc. And I think that is because certainly in my experience, and it has happened to me in my life, when I have made changes because I'm like, I hate this and I'm just leaving, it really isn't, it rarely works out in the way that I would hope. Do you know what I mean? It's just oftentimes changing one bad situation for another bad situation.
That's a really good piece of advice. And I will say, like, I've had jobs, especially where I was like, I gotta get out of here. I
Yeah.
gotta get out of here. And I'm still it's been there's one job that I had um where I worked at a college for a decade, and
Hmm.
I'm still dealing with feelings over that experience.
Yeah,
And I still feel like I got out of something that was really difficult, and I'm still processing it.
absolutely.
I quit in like 2014. But it's like if I think of it as like moving, but that put me into, this whole nother avenue of my life instead of like sometimes still being angry about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
I like that a lot.
And I can absolutely relate to that. I mean, there's definitely things in my life that happened to me years ago that I've still not processed properly, and I've tried. Like, and I mean, certainly the path I've been on in recent years in my life, um, I have better tools for like doing that, I think, but there's still, it's hard to like regulate your emotions with a lot of this stuff. And things will
Mhm.
occur to you and you'll just get flashes of like anger or a resentment or whatever, and it can be hard to kind of keep on top of them.
It's true. And I think we both kind of like, mm, what's the word? Where you just kind of go back and you like, you're in the whirlpool of like
Oh,
old thoughts and old feelings. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
talking about?
I do know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get stuck there sometimes.
Hmm.
And I think that's just a really good, like remembering those words will help. Like, okay, reframe, reframe.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Um, Less talking, more listening.
Oh yeah, I have that exact thing written down.
Really?
Well, not exactly, but yeah, very,
Yeah.
very similar. Yeah.
And it's funny, it's something that I absolutely think I'm good at, but I'm noticing as I'm like coming back to life a little bit more that I'm starting to do the thing where I'm listening to I'm actively listening, but I'm actively also thinking about
Yeah.
what I'm gonna like how I'm going to contribute to the conversation and like what I'm gonna say that also has to do with what you're saying, but is also like probably funnier.
Yeah, like, yeah, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut
I know, no, no. Here's
up.
my story.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but like, I don't want to keep talking about work as an example, but I'm probably going to have to with some of this.
Hmm.
Like with work, I was really good at not talking as much and listening more,
Yeah,
but I think I just need to transfer that into my personal life.
yeah. I, and I think it's a nervous thing a lot of the time. I also think it's an insecurity thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Shut up, Andy.
hey, look, I'm just saying this because I'm talking about my how I do very much the same thing. And I think, what has been helpful for me in terms of that is I really love listening to people. Like, I mean, I just prefer that to talking, honestly. And like, I think I said about it on pod before, like, there is nothing brings me greater joy than hearing somebody speak passionately about something they love. And like, because especially if it's something I don't know anything about, it's so interesting because you learn so much if somebody has, and it's like, I don't know. There's a lovely energy to it if people are excited for it or passionate about it, and it helps you to draw you into that world a wee bit too.
Hmm. Victor's way.
Yeah. Victor's way rules.
Uh-huh. What you got next?
Okay. Um, so and this is taking me a long time. I still don't think I'm good at this. I think most people aren't. Is learning to accept when people are doing things for you or want to help you in some way and just saying yes. Because I, yeah, I'll be
Good
interested to hear
one.
your thoughts on this because I think it's a very British thing. Whereas, like, it's like, no, no, I can do it myself. I don't need help, that sort of thing. It's like, and maybe not seeing it, maybe saying it's a weakness or it feels like a weakness is too strong. But it's like, I don't want to put somebody out. I don't want to add to somebody else's burden. But I think what I've learned is that um it's how other people show love a lot of the time, if they want how they help out. And Also, I would, I help out people all the time. I do stuff for people all the time. Why should I not accept that help sometimes? And and it's okay too. And I think honestly, it has helped me grow closer to people, just let my guard down a little, let myself be helped. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, it's just I think just that I don't know if I worded it very well, but
I think you did. Can I ask a question?
mhm.
How do you feel when you help others?
Great.
Like that's part of your purpose?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've said this before, but like, in some of our mood mental health episodes, I struggle to help myself, but I think I'm very good at helping others. I feel
Mhm.
like in my darker hours, that feels like very much um my only purpose, but I think in my lighter hours, I just see it as, part of an essential part of who I am.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if you think of it not so much as people, taking pity on you or like helping you and allowing that, but like more of like a reciprocal exchange, right?
Yeah, I think, it's love as well, it's like
Yeah.
I love you, I want to help, I want to do things for the person I love, and um but like I think, ego is obviously a hell of a thing for everyone, and
Hmm.
people want to be seen as like resilient and strong and capable. So it can be really hard to accept that help sometimes, I think, But I
Yeah.
think, and I mean, like, I am by no means perfect at it, but like, by and large, people want to do things for me or offer me something. I'm like, thanks. I just say thank you.
Mhm.
And it comes from my heart, and, I receive it, and it's been a lot better.
Sometimes you argue and then I'm like, just say yes. And you're like,
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think in our culture, it's very similar. I think part of it has to do with, um, I try and always put things in a little bit of perspective of the fact that we're just a very young country.
Yeah.
And it's like we've just had to, figure it out, learn by doing. Um, and I think, mm, I don't want to generalize, but I think it's more of a masculine trait
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
But even as a feminine trait, it's really hard to accept help. And I think, as a woman, like women can do everything, like you can have it
Yeah.
all, right? There's that. So then you need to do it all by
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's definitely something that our cultures share.
And I think it pushes people apart as well. Do you know what I mean? Because like I think we work better when we're social animals,
It's
and
part of like the community living
yeah.
is
And
like giving help and accepting help.
yeah. I would also say, and I mean there are caveats to this. Also accepting compliments is good as well. Like I think it's hard for a lot of people, but like
Yeah.
just accept them with grace, and like, not if it's some like, sweaty guy who's like telling you you're sexy. It's okay to reject those compliments, but
As you're
if
standing in line at the bathroom.
yeah, 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 yeah. But like if it's, heartfelt, it's from somebody accept the compliment, and just,
Mhm,
take it into your heart. It can help, certainly helps me.
mhm. I like that. That's a good one. Good, well picked. Okay, so I'm gonna nerd out for a second, and I've
Go for it.
already told Andy this, but I have a tattoo and it says 14.7.
Hmm.
And this is based off of our yoga anatomy book by
Yeah,
Leslie Kriminoff.
that sounds right.
Uh, okay, so I'm gonna read this. So 14.7 is the amount of atmospheric pressure we have on our bodies at all time.
Hmm.
So here's the definition of this, based on Leslie's observations and also science. So volume and pressure are inversely related. When volume increases, pressure decreases, and when volume decreases, pressure increases. Because air always flows towards area of lower pressure, increasing the volume inside the thoracic cavity will decrease pressure and cause air to flow into it. This is an inhalation. So that's you taking a breath in.
Hmm.
It's important to note that in spite of how it feels when you inhale, You do not actually pull air into the body. On the contrary, air is pushed into the body by the atmospheric pressure, 14.7 pounds per square inch, that always surrounds you. This means that the actual force that gets air into the lungs is outside of the body. The energy expended in breathing produces a shape change that lowers the pressure in the chest cavity and permits the air to be pushed into the body by the weight of the planet's atmosphere. In other words, you create the space and the universe fills it.
Yeah, that's good. I like that one. Yeah,
So
that's
I
lovely.
that is like science says you create like literally like you are breathing, and by breathing you're creating space, and literally the universe is filling it. And so kind of I take that a little bit further, and then like, okay, what space can I create in my life?
Mhm.
And then what do I want the universe to fill it with?
I like
It's
that.
super hooey dooey and like out there, but that's I kind of like to go a step further and
It's a
make
nice
it
kind
all
of, yeah,
about
it's a nice
me.
kind of add on. Yeah, no, I like it. It's a nice kind of add
Mhm.
on to that sort of idea, because I also have like just breathe written down as a amazing piece of advice.
Totally.
But that's great. I love that quote. I think, I mean, of course I've read it because it's in our yoga textbook.
It was on page like, dude, it was literally on like page 3.
Yeah, of course it did. That
Or
definitely. I mean, it does actually sound very familiar, but that was a few years ago. My brain is like
your
Swiss
mind
cheese.
garden.
Yeah, exactly. I like I and it does sound, you know, like a no duh thing, but like honestly, just the advice of breathing or like slowing down your breath or focusing your breath is massive. And I think people all too often take it for granted or don't realize how powerful it can be, how powerful a tool it can be. Like in terms of, at times when I've been feeling overly stressed or in like situations that I'm having a hard time with, I just reconnect with my breath. I take deep sort of breaths and it can really kind of help regulate a lot of shit that's going on in my body.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, like even, and I really like, and I mean, that's what's been so great with yoga and everything. And, with me teaching yoga is, I like kind of, you know, sneakily sliding in different ways to think about breath in my classes. Like I really like my kind of, you did my and breathing
Yep.
exercise thing,
Yep.
and I just like how it kind of, because of the kind of shapes you're making with your hands, it kind of makes me think about the expansiveness of breath and how big it should be and how like big you should let it be. But yeah, it's pretty rad.
And I think a lot, I was thinking about you when I was reading this, and you quitting your job and adding things in, like, okay. And I think I've had this conversation with you probably several times, but like, okay, like you don't have the job, like now what do you want to fill your life
Yeah,
with? And you were like, oh, well, teaching yoga and dog walking. And it's like you literally did that.
yeah,
You actively did this exercise, but like with your life.
it's true.
And I'm gonna give you a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're doing a really good job
thank you,
with it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
with what you're feeling, like what you cleared off the table, and now you're resetting the table
Yeah.
with like things that make you happy and bring you joy and keep you busy.
That's true. That's true. No, I
So,
thank you.
yeah.
I think it's sometimes, and it definitely does take that outside viewpoint sometimes to kind of, even reset things inside yourself. Like I definitely find that for things like that. Like I had a friend who's reached out to me a couple of times and said how delighted he is that I'm doing creative stuff as well, like this. I'm doing the choir and things like that. I'm doing, a little bit of writing here and there. And he's always just like really kind of boosting me about that, and I really appreciate that. It really kind of means a lot to me because you know whenever you're like staring at a blank page for a day and you get like fuck all done and you're like, oh god, what a waster I am. But it's not about that. It really isn't. It's just about, it's about, I think it's also about trying things and not being hard on yourself whenever those things don't necessarily pan out how you expected.
Hmm. Yeah, just trying is powerful in itself.
Yes.
So, and like an act of bravery in itself.
Yeah.
And I always say to the kids, like, this is one of the things I say to them. Like, if you don't try, you'll never, and I'm sure I say it to you all the time, like, if you don't try, you'll never know.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that is something I've literally live my life by,
Yeah.
um, even unconsciously now. Like try
Yeah.
it and it's like go to the thing, see if it, if you don't go, then you won't, then you'll never know kind of thing. Um, so
Yeah.
that's my wisdom.
I like it. It's good.
TM, trademark. I'm sure someone else has said those words, but
Almost certainly not. Let's trademark it just to be safe.
right.
Uh, no, that was good. Okay. I guess kind of connected to that is and something that has been such a guiding point for me in the entirety of my life, but I think I've only been able to like vocalize it or think about it properly in recent years is about being curious and
Mm.
and about everything. I mean, it even feeds into some of the stuff I've said already in terms of how much I love listening to people talk about new things. Um, how much I love sort of experiencing new things, and like having new adventures and things like that. Um, God, I really feel like it opens you up to so many kind of wonderful possibilities. I feel like there is an inherent sort of vulnerability as part of it, and that can be scary for a lot of people. And also, like, I think we've talked a bit about like whenever you are curious, you're probably looking at something you don't know much about. So there will be like a period of like being ignorant about that, and that's also scary for a lot of people. And you know, that's just part of the process. And like, yeah, but it's fine. It's fine to be ignorant about stuff. Everybody's ignorant about nearly everything.
It's
So
true,
it's
whether or
fine.
not they like to admit it.
Exactly.
We know
So
nothing.
we know nothing. We know like a fraction of, even if you know lots, there is such a larger amount that you know nothing about, and that's fine, So
I think
there's,
to that ties into like being a life learner
yeah,
and keeping your mind sharp. And I'm not trying to be trite with any of this, but
no,
like keeping your mind sharp and like being curious creates like new opportunities, like the way that you live your life and you're like, all right, I'm throwing myself into this thing that I've never done
yeah,
before. And there it is brave and it is scary and it's all the things, but that all stems from the curiosity.
absolutely. I think, you see people, I remember recently when we were in Dublin for the jazz festival and we saw there was the Irish group, the first group that we saw performing.
Mhm.
And there was a jazz guitarist, and I was watching his fingers on the guitar, and it was just mind blowing. And I was like, I will never, become close to this skill level. It's kind of insane to me. Like, so few people would ever. And I feel like oftentimes, not oftentimes, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but like people would maybe be jealous of that, but instead just be like, how incredible,
Yeah,
incredible that this
yeah.
guy has dedicated his life to this thing and that I get to see it as well.
I was watching them. So it was what, three of them? The
Yeah,
pianist, the cellist, and the jazz
double
guitarist.
bass. Yes, yes, sorry, yes, Alice,
Uh,
yeah. Hmm.
and just watching because it was largely improv, but they were like, okay, this is a song, but then they would like go off and each of them would take a piece and
Yeah.
do a little solo. But it was so interesting to me. And again, I was having a similar thought, like I'll never have this kind of conversation, but they were literally having a conversation using musical
Yeah.
instruments. And like you could tell like one of them was like doing something, the other ones are like, this is cool and funny, and they were like giggling and like they were having emotions. And
Hmm.
it was like the coolest thing. It was the coolest thing.
I
And I was a little jealous, I'm gonna be honest.
uh, it's which is completely fine.
And just the idea
And
of like
normal.
playing an instrument, not worrying
Yeah.
about like which note am I playing, but you're just like playing from your soul kind of thing.
Like that's just so true. And I think that like I mean it is one of the things what I'm planning to do in life is learn an instrument well enough. I would really just love to jam with somebody or with people, a group of people. I love the idea of that, and I think it's within my capability to do. I just need to like bring my focus to it. There was a video game podcast I listened to, and they were talking about it today. And one of the guys was like, he'd completed this really difficult game, like a notoriously difficult game, and beat the final boss, and he was like a notoriously difficult boss. And what he took from that was like, I was able to apply myself to this. I was able to do it. I and so that means that I have the capability within myself to set myself to a difficult task and achieve it. And he used that to go and like teach himself how to play the piano. And I'm like, that rocks.
Right.
That's the right way to look at that sort of thing, you know?
This is totally off topic, but I was
Hmm.
watching a video of Dolly Parton playing the guitar for Johnny Carson last
Nice.
night. She wrote a song about like being on Johnny Carson's show.
Hmm.
And and part of the reason I don't play the ukulele is like I've got like fingernails that are long and I like having longer fingernails.
Yep.
This is like totally stupid, but Dolly Parton, that woman has fingernails that are like 2 feet long and she plays the shit out of a fucking guitar.
Interesting.
So all things are possible.
So
Look at
true.
Dolly
Yeah, it
Parton
is.
playing
It
the
is.
guitar.
I love it. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so I have one for you that
Okay.
used to drive me crazy.
Hmm.
This is my mom's solution for all things.
Hmm.
Like I had a hard day. My friends are fighting. This person was mean to me. Her advice, why don't you take a walk? Have you taken a walk? When was the last time you took a walk? And now I'm older. As
Good
much as
advice.
I hate to admit it, she was fucking right.
Yeah, it is.
Like
Yeah.
get outside, change your perspective. Like to me, it was like I felt at the time like you're minimizing my feelings. I have big feelings. I'm a
Yeah.
teenager or whatever. And now I'm like, no, like literally, like that's the best advice ever. Other
It,
than like get on your yoga mat.
yeah. I mean, I think it's like great for like problem solving as well. If you're like bashing your head against the wall, go for a walk. And oftentimes, if you're not thinking about a problem, you'll also, you'll often like get a solution will just pop into your head. It's really good for just kind of that sort of brain sort of cleanse or like, reset.
Yes. Especially if there's two Labradors.
Oh,
So side story, when I was visiting you, you're walking these two labs that
hmm.
are the strongest beasts ever.
Yeah, they are.
They're like otherworldly. And Andy does this by himself, these two
Yeah,
labs. And I was literally like using all of my body weight to pull myself backwards as they're
yeah.
like peeing on each other and running and like being adorable. But yeah,
I
that's
I took some photos of them at the weekend. Actually, I must send to you. They look
okay.
adorable. Like they are the sweetest looking boys. Like you have no idea, but like they are rowdy and they are like I've never encountered a dogs that pull quite as much, and they both do it, and they're both pretty
Uh-huh.
friggin' strong. So
Uh-huh.
it's like I'm kind of like I'd say when I'm walking there at like a 45-degree angle because I just have to lean my body weight back because that's the only way I can kind of keep any sort of control over them. It's interesting.
Mhm.
It's definitely the hardest I work at dog walking.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you earn your money, I'll say that.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so take a walk.
Hmm.
You'll
That's a
feel
great one.
better.
That's a really great one. I
Mhm.
really like that a lot.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. Um, oh yeah, okay. So one of the ones was from me, and it's definitely a nerves thing, was to slow down, was to take a breath, to not be afraid of a bit of silence. I mean, like, which is massive for me when I'm teaching yoga and like just generally. I mean, I think I used to like I'm guilty of it sometimes, but I just used to talk so quickly because I was so nervous all the time. And so it's just
Now
taking a
you realize
breath.
it's just because you're Irish.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
You guys talk fast.
Yes, we do. But
I
I
know you
think
slow it down for me, and I appreciate
I think
it.
I used to talk fast even for somebody over here, honestly, and I would get that feedback from people in this country, So I was but it was just nerves, and and also sometimes excitement with me because I had something that I really wanted to say and I just couldn't. it was just it just was overflowing me trying to get this out in a, like a coherent manner.
Mhm. It's something I use with the kids a lot, like when they're having a hard time. Like we use breath as like
Hmm.
I literally am like, take a breath, just take a breath, breathe in, breathe out. It's interesting how much we're talking about breathing
It is.
with
It's
advice.
it's the best piece
It
of
is the
advice.
best.
Like, and I think people find it almost patronizing sometimes. I think there are worse things you can
Take a
say to
breath,
somebody.
just take a breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I think that is better. And one of the other things that I had written down was if people are stressed out, never, ever, 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 ever tell them to calm down or to
Ask them if
relax
they're stressed out.
or tell them to relax. Neither of those, unless your aim is to make them more stressed out, or then do not say those things. I think it's sometimes like I will just give people some space, or what I do sometimes is I start breathing like just if they're stressing out, just so they can hear me breathe in rather than me going, because take a breath can also annoy people. But I think it's the more valuable thing under those circumstances than calm down. Oh, calm
Hmm.
down. Perfect. That's just what I need to do right now.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And like when the kids are upset, I'll hold them.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes like they'll be crying, but I'll be breathing just so they can like through osmosis, right? They can
Yep.
feel it. And then once they start to calm down, then they start to match my breath. And then I'm
It,
like, good parenting.
it is.
Hmm.
It's good with animals as well, and honestly, both ways. Like her being near to me and breathing beside me has been a massive help to me when I've been in a bad way.
Hmm.
Just being able to like listen to that, and also like especially when they're like on you, and you can like feel the rise and fall of their chests and stuff like that. It can really kind of help you get out of bad situations.
Hmm. I have one for you.
Hmm.
Fucking pay attention.
Sorry, what?
Fucking pay attention.
Oh, okay, fine. I guess
But
I will.
it's true. It's true.
It is.
It's true.
It is.
And like I think it's easy, like in a bigger context, it's really easy to zone out. It's really easy to be like to scroll, right? And to
It is.
not be actively like paying attention
Yeah.
to what's going on in the world, what's going on literally around you in like the moment, um, all the things. And there's so many things that are trying to distract us that are like brain vacation, like let's eat some mashed potatoes,
Hmm.
right? Easy,
Hmm.
easy, easy. And I think I'm not gonna like walk down the political path or like anything like that, but I think part of what we need to do as human beings is always, be pay attention to what's going on around us,
Yeah.
be discerning, pay attention, make your own judgments based on, the attention that you're paying instead of just having stuff like fed to you.
Yeah, pour it into your brain without
Hmm.
any filter whatsoever.
Hmm.
No, I hear you. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I think like
That was my father.
I think it's a good one. I think that like I think people and certain attention spans is something we have talked about before. I think are shot to shit generally speaking across the
Our
board.
brains are shrinking
Oh,
and
really?
they don't know why.
Oh God, what a
I air
nightmare.
quoted that. They don't know why. And I'm like,
Yeah,
of course our brains are shrinking.
I think
We're not using them.
it's so horrible. Like we really are being conditioned, broken down. It's such a nightmare. I think like, and that's what I was gonna say. I think definitely pay attention, but also kind of be aware of like the limitations of your attention span sometimes as well, and like don't be hard on yourself if you can't, and like if you need to like
Take a
dissect
break.
information in bite-sized chunks, do it that way,
Mhm.
But
There's
you
so
know
much now. So
there is. If you find it
yeah.
slipping, yeah, maybe just take a step back. But yeah, it's important. It really is. Um, do I have anything else? the only other one I have written down here is, and it's something that I kind of have a strong feeling about, is that in terms of speaking, I think it's always good just to not talk unless you actually have something to say.
That's
Um,
good.
because like I have encountered so many people in my life who just talk because there's space to fill, or because they want, like, my main source of this sort of thing is sales reps that I've known that just have to talk, and it's their job, and it's like, and they're just telling me stuff, and I'm like, I just don't care about this. And it's like, oftentimes, these amazing stories that I guess they drop on their client, on their clients, or something that makes them look like a cool or interesting person, and just like, you know I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care about all this sort of, stroking your own ego stuff. I just, yeah. But it is what it is. It's part of that horrifying world, I guess.
Sales reps.
Or just sales in general, yeah. But sales reps particularly, like, I mean, I've met some nice ones for the most part, but like most of them are, walking, talking nightmare machines.
Yeah. Do you guys have a like is that a lot of what people do? Do you have a
Uh,
lot of sales?
I don't think we have a lot, but we have some. And um like, I really don't, it's it's certainly my own personal prejudice. I have such a problem with it, and I really hate, like, we have, and I say I lump them in as well, we have people that come door to door asking you to sign up for like charity things.
Gotcha.
And I really hate the blatant manipulation of it. And I can, you can see it so clearly, and it really kind of pisses me off. Because it's like, you know, I believe in charity. I believe in, but I hate getting the hard sell. I really do. It really kind of puts me off this, that sort of thing. In terms of what I do for charity and what I kind of give the charity, I prefer to do it on my own terms and what I can afford, be that time or money or whatever. And I hate
Mhm.
the kind of language and stuff that's used to kind of pressure you into giving, maybe giving whenever you can't really, I really don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Yeah. It it's just, as I say, it's just, things like, well, of course we can count you to blah blah blah. I have like a few systems now to like get the number
Do you
one
guys
with a
have, can you put
bullet.
like no soliciting on your doors?
People
Do you have,
do that a little bit. It's not as much. I remember seeing it more in the US, but
it's
it does
everybody,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
And so like the only ones that can knock on your door if you put up like no soliciting, thank you. I have a nice one. Some of them are like,
yeah, no
no
such thing, or you'll
soliciting,
get
beware of
shot.
dog,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Um, but churches can solicit.
Oh, okay. Of course they can.
So gotten in a little argument over that.
Yeah, I'll bet that sucks. But my get out, my clause, and this isn't that always works now, is that because it was true for a couple of years, is that when they say, you know, can we count some for some money? I say, look, I'm unemployed, unfortunately, and that's an
You're
immediate
like, can you donate some money to me?
yes, and that's an immediate, like, oh shit, we can't put any pressure on him. He doesn't have any money.
Right.
So that's been a good one to kind of get, a very kind of a quick one to get out of that. And it's only
So
kind of a white lie currently.
well, I guess like in your culture, do you guys listen and give normally, I mean, I've done door-to-door sales.
Ah,
As a child, I was selling cookies and I've
oh,
never had
it's a
more people slam
nightmare.
the door in my face.
Yeah, I remember you talked. We I was talking about that before. Because
Yeah.
I told you I talked
Yeah.
about doing it in Australia. So
Yeah.
I normally pretty
Like
quick to
but your
say
culture generally like you're kind and so people
yes.
like you
So
give them the
people
time
do
of
just
day.
smile and nod for a bit. Like, these early on, I normally like to say, look, I just, I'm either busy or I can't. But like sometimes that doesn't stop them. And then like I am like, okay, because like I don't want to waste their time. I don't want them to waste my time. So just let's get this over and done with. But some of them have clearly been told you've got to do the hard sell, you got to keep pushing. And I'm like, okay, look, do your spiel. I'm still gonna say no. We're gonna walk away, and both of our time will have been wasted for no gain.
Right, right. It's interesting. Okay, let's see. No, 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 no. I'm gonna say Mike said this actually, and I
Hmm.
think I've mentioned this to you before. Um, when you don't show up, people notice, but when you do show up, people don't notice.
Yeah.
So it's like, should I go do this thing? Like someone's getting married. Like, are there really like 300 people are going to be there or whatever? And it's like, if you're not there,
Okay,
people will
yeah.
notice.
Why is Beth not there? Where is she? Yeah, it's true. That
So
is
it's like,
true.
I think that governs a lot of our decisions in terms of like, you know, being places and
Yeah,
showing up for people. And I think it's good to show up for people,
I agree.
even if it's
Definitely.
not like always what we want to do, but
Yeah.
we should.
If it's important to them, there's somebody you care
Yeah,
about. Yeah, I think it
yeah,
is. I really
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I like, and I like, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, whatever those things are, probably will be something you might wind up enjoying anyway, you
Yeah,
know? And you
yeah.
never
And
know.
kind of like what we were talking about, just like getting out in the world a little bit
Yeah,
more. It's like, this is an easy way to do it.
yeah,
Just show
uh,
up.
very much so. No, I like that one. That's good. Nice.
I have one
Um,
more. I have one
okay.
more.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do
so
it. Let's
this
do it
is
to
my
wrap things up. Yeah.
my favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird, and this is a
Hmm.
quote from Atticus Finch.
Hmm.
You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb in his skin and walk around in it.
Hmm. So true.
And I think I try really hard to do that, not always well, but to really try and especially, when the world is crazy right now, everything is crazy right now,
Yeah.
and things are so divided, like, okay, like how can we like today the Pope gave an interview and was like, we all need to come together, and it's
Yeah.
like, um,
It's
I just, it's,
no,
yeah,
I like that. And I think, the version of it keep hearing, and I think people would roll their eyes at this is just to like give everybody a little bit of grace because there is zero chance that you have any idea what this person is going through at this time in their lives. Whenever like somebody cuts you off or, takes the trolley that you were eyeing up at the supermarket, like it's just you don't know. And like it's so easy to be like, oh, that person's a asshole or whatever. But like you don't know that. You don't know them at all. You don't know their struggles. I mean, even if you know them well, you probably only know a fraction of that. And I think that it's often a way of, by condemning other people, it's an often a way to like, pacify things that are going on within yourself temporarily, at least anyway. It's probably not a lasting fix. Um,
mhm,
but yeah, just, who knows what's going on in people's lives, going back in one of the earlier pieces of advice, just take a breath and
yeah,
go. Does this really matter that much? I'd say a lot
yeah,
of the time it won't at all.
yeah. And like in a year is the person that cut me off and
Yeah.
me like giving them the finger and honking, like, am I gonna remember that? Me probably, but
It depends how bad the honk was, or if it
right.
one of those really obnoxious horns that played like a theme tune or something like that.
I wish that would happen more
Oh,
often.
there was
No, 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 no.
there was in that show I keep banging on about, How to with John Wilson.
Yes.
He encountered a guy who had a car horn that played the Godfather theme tune. It was
Oh
so
my gosh.
made me laugh a lot.
Na,
So
na,
if
na,
somebody like,
na, na, na.
yeah, exactly. So if somebody cut you off with a Godfather horn, you're gonna remember that. But like maybe in a
I'd
happier way.
wave. I'd be
Yeah, you
like,
do.
yeah, you go.
Got it, man.
I hope I hope your microcosm of a life isn't too difficult.
Exactly. I mean, you're bringing joy with your car horn. So yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Yeah.
Mm. Next
Um,
time we'll do bad advice we've ever gotten.
yeah, sorry. That's gonna be an even longer list. Um,
It was
so
actually easy to come up with these, I'll say.
yeah, no, it was, and they sort of kind of flown out. And like, and for I think I was struggling to try like find, like I said at the top, sources for them, but
Mhm.
um, then I was like, it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of the time, like I would
Oh.
equate. I've got great advice from a lot of people in my life, and some of that is probably, some of the things that I've said is probably attributable to them, but it's,
Mhm.
you know, so yeah, just surround yourself with good people and you'll get good advice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's there it is.
Yeah,
That's a t-shirt.
that's great. Um, so yeah,
Have me as
so
your friend, you'll get good advice.
oh yeah, and I forgot my t-shirt as well. It's a good piece of advice. Be
It
be
says be humble.
be humble, yeah. They be humble. Just, relax, guys. All right, just relax. So don't stop
Mhm.
trying to like tell people, show people how friggin' smart you are. Just be humble. It's fine, whatever. It's just feeding your own ego anyway, and it's probably going to be a temporary fix at best. We are. Beth and I both talked about this. We are wired and woolly. We have a we have a nuts energy. I think it's a good energy to have for an advice-based
I
podcast,
think so
actually,
too.
as it
I
has
think
turned
so
out.
too.
You know, but
You're
yeah,
welcome, world.
you are welcome, world. Um,
All right,
s-
Andy.
so
It's
moving on,
time.
moving on
Yes.
to our favorite portion of the podcast to ask you what's been bringing you joy this week.
Okay. Do you guys have Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Okay. I'm watching Outer Range
Ooh, mm-hmm.
season 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's so freaking good. And like
Yeah.
all these timelines that are crazy are like moving and shifting and coming together, and like time's shifting and moving and coming
Okay.
together, and it's just I love it. I love it. I love it. Like
Uh,
last night, I think we watched like 3 episodes because I couldn't stop. Mike's like,
oh,
I
okay,
gotta go to
nice.
sleep, and I'm like, oh, fine. I could have pulled an all night. I was trying to pull an all-nighter,
And all that
apparently.
all out of range all nighter.
Yes, yes.
I, I've heard good things about that. It's
It's
also
so good.
what's the main guy? I really like
Uh,
him.
Brolin,
Brolin, Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, he's
He's
great.
a Goonie, so.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Mhm,
That's true.
mhm.
Yeah, that rules. Yes, I must check it out. Actually, I have heard good things about it. I am really kind of waiting for The Boys season 4. It's out
Ooh, when is that
soonish.
supposed to come out? It's
I
literally
think this
like probably my
summer.
top 5 favorite shows
Yeah.
ever.
So I'm excited for that.
Superheroes being assholes.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, so
Mike reminds me of Billy.
The Goonies.
No,
Oh, wait a second. What am I sorry,
The
going back from The
Boys.
Boys. Yes, okay.
Billy the Butcher.
So
Like
that
I'm
who's
watching the show and I'm like, this is my husband.
so this is the guy who I won't get into the story now. Beth found out that I met him only when we were down in Dublin. Remember? I told
I
you the
forgot to
story.
tell Mike this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I complimented on how good he was.
Jealous.
What an excellent Bones he
Uh,
was in the Star Trek movie.
yes.
And he was
And
talking
I
at
was
that
like, I'm
time.
glad you, yeah. What was he talking about, Judge Dredd?
He was talking about Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Which,
So good. I know. I
I'm
was
Judge
just
Dredd.
I thought he was really good. I thought it was a really good movie, but it
Rewatch it
wasn't
with
for
my
everyone.
opinion. He just
uh,
frowns the whole time.
it does just
Smile,
frown. But
buddy.
that's hey no hey hey. You don't tell Judge Dredd to smile, okay? Not smiling is his trademark.
You don't tell
Uh
Billy the Butcher to
well, this is also
smile.
true, yeah. I at first
You don't tell
his
anyone to smile.
no, no, actually really don't. The Broad City Girls had the best response to that, which was like in one of the episodes, somebody's like, "Hey, darling, why don't you try smiling sometimes?" And they put up their middle fingers at either edges of their mouth and push their mouths. It's okay. Um, so yeah.
What
Um,
about you?
so what's been bringing me joy this week? So I actually ended up because it was my mom's birthday recently, and
Happy birthday to your, oh, please say I said happy
I will, I
birthday.
will, I will pass that along. And I took her out for lunch. Like we both have busy schedules, because we're such, have, incredible lives. And uh But we finally did went out and I took her like a Japanese restaurant, which she loved. And I was a little bit apprehensive because, especially as you get older and there's more separation, like we still love each other, but it's like, what are we going to talk about for an hour? But it was lovely. And we just had a nice chat and it was just nice to spend some time with her. And yeah, I'm glad we did it. It was not, it was also fun watching her like try to use chopsticks. And me being a smug asshole with all my career skills,
You're
going,
like
no,
juggling them and like
one of them in place, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it was great. It was really great. So the other thing is to say,
you're like picking up your cell phone with your chopsticks
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
dialing a number with your chopsticks,
yeah, yeah, exactly. And like, it's
doing
this
your
is
hair.
what do you mean you can't do this? It's really easy. Just been a real prick about it. And the other thing, so was that and I said I would mention it at the start, said I would mention it at the end. Thinking about the mighty hike again. I'm going to be pestering people about this, so you'll see it on social media and stuff like that. I understand times are tough, very much so, and if people can't afford to send me any money, I completely understand. But if you could, it would be much appreciated. It's for a very worthy cause, which is
Even if it's a pound.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's Macmillan Cancer Research, which I think is an important charity. I think, cancer is still a plague on us all and affects so many people I know and has affected many people I love. So I think it's a very worthwhile charity.
So
So
I will
yes,
make sure to put that on our social medias, and also I'll put it on our website on the front on the main page. And just so people remember,
yeah,
our website's getting traffic lately. I changed some of the photos, so
hell yeah,
you're welcome world. It's us in front of a water feature making
nice,
funny faces. But we are bendypodcast.com.
yeah,
You can access our YouTube videos. You can actually watch us record our chats over Zoom,
great,
and access a bunch of different stuff via the website. So, and now also Andy's charity. So
yes, please, thank you
go there to the website, and we appreciate all of you for your support.
very much. So
Yeah.
cool. So Beth, can you tell the fine folks about where they can find us, or I mean,
Bendy
they can
Podcast,
the Bendy Podcast website, yeah, which
bendypodcast.com. We're also on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are
YouTube.
on YouTube. We are on LinkedIn.
Are we on
We're
LinkedIn? I don't
on
think I knew that.
TikTok. We're on Instagram. And who knows what else I've got us into? I don't
Sweet.
even know.
So
Yeah.
just like whatever you use, search for Bendy Podcast and you'll probably find us there.
Yeah. Yep. It's true.
I'm
It's
glad I
true.
got you to do this. I didn't know
You
like
can
half of
even
those.
Google us. If you Google Bendy the podcast, we
Uh-huh.
show up as the number one.
Nice. There
Ah,
you
we
go,
made it
folks.
there.
All right. We're number one. We're
We're number
number one.
one.
Uh, okay.
For 3 words, we're number one.
Yes, exactly. So good. Okay. So we would like to
I'm gonna
remind you
do
as, huh?
way better. I'm gonna do way better than last week. I
Okay.
was embarrassed
Okay.
by my
Oh, okay. We'll see.
okay. Breathe, Beth,
Okay.
breathe.
Okay. We would like to remind you to
Stay.
Bendy.
Bendy.
Killer. I mean, possibly killer.
Twinsies. I think we
Twinsies.
did great. It was so
Right.
good.
We love
All right.
you.
We
Bye
love
bye.
you. Bye bye bye.
Nice.
That's good.
It was good. Yeah. I'm going
We're so
to. You are so
good.
good. I'm going to send you all the stuff that I need to send you while I
Okay.
remember
Please
the
do export. Uh,
episode
this is
35.
35, buddy.
Yeah.
I turned myself up, but you said you can
I can
equalize or normalize.
I'm always equalizing it now. It just
Okay.
makes
We
sense.
sounded so good
Yeah,
when we were in the same
it
room.
really did. Yeah, I was like surprised at how oh man. Uh, 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 uh,
You okay?
no, I just seen a message and I'm like, oh God, it's just something else I have to think about. It's no big deal. I have to worry about it for
Add
tonight.
it to your to-do list.
Yes, I will indeed. Okay. Yes, right, okay. Distracted me.
That's
Right.
fine. But,
Send
uh,
this. Okay. And also, so this is the guy I was looking after.
the dog.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I want to send you. Uh,
Oh, looks
uh,
like a Springer.
he's a
Look
sprocker,
at
so he's.
those. Oh, look at the
I know
eyes.
he's such a sweetheart. Here's these two friggin' dorks.
Literally, that's like one of the funniest things I've ever. The only thing that's like they have identical noses.
They do, and this is their new roosts whenever I arrive as well. They're just both sitting there as I arrived. I
Serious?
was like, you guys were so
Waiting
funny.
on their giant
Yeah.
spool table.
Yes. Just staring at me because they're always whenever somebody else new turns up, they kind of eye
Bark,
you
bark.
up. And it's not as soon as I'm like, hey boys, they're like, "Ah,
Oh God.
my
Oh, I'm
friend.
gonna walk.